Okay, it's 6:30. At this time, I'd like to open up the Administrative Services Committee meeting for September 3rd, 2019. Please call the roll.
Councilor Corradino.
Here.
Councilor DeMassey.
Here.
Councilor Hill.
Here.
Councilor Tesoriero.
Excused.
Councilor Wilmot.
Here.
I'd like a motion to approve the minutes of the August 19th, 2019 meeting. Councilor DeMassey, Councilor Hill.
Wait a minute. Oh, there it is. Sorry. Okay.
Please call the roll.
Okay. Councilor Corradino.
Yes.
Councilor DeMassey.
Yes.
Councilor Hill.
Yes.
Councilor Wilmot.
Yes.
Okay. Going on to any old business. Seeing none, let's go right on to new business. Item number 1. Mayor William J. Barlow Jr. requests permission to renew a participation agreement between the City of Oswego and the Northeast Regional Council of Carpenters. Mr. Mayor?
Thank you. This is just renewing the agreement that we did 2 years ago with the carpenters, where we essentially bring them in to supplement any work by the DPW as we see fit. There's nothing that's really binding us to do it. We've done it once since we entered this agreement, and that's replacing the doors at the theater building. So we're just renewing that agreement in case, leave the option there in case we want to use it again in the future.
All right, very good. Any questions for the mayor from any councilors? From the public? Seeing none, can I have a motion, please? Councilor Hill, Councilor DeMassey. Please call the roll.
Councilor Corradino.
Yes.
Councilor DeMassey.
Yes.
Councilor Hill.
Yes.
Councilor Wilmot.
Abstain.
Item number 2. Mayor William J. Barlow Jr., through the Office of Economic Development, requests approval to submit the WIIA funding application and financial commitment for the EFC project number C7-6344-19-08, sewer separation and rehabilitation, third and fourth 25%, with a total estimated cost of $14.6 million. Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. The next 3 items on the agenda are all applications for the EF funding. This is the same funding. We won $5 million in our first 2 years in office to help with sewer projects and drinking water projects. Winning the $5 million in 2 years is the most that we could have won. So, and it's largely what was responsible to be able to lower the sewer bills that we did earlier this year. So now that it's a new 2-year cycle, we can apply for these grants once again. The first application here is as it reads for the sewer separation, third and fourth 25%. So it's been highly documented over the last 5 years what the sewer separation project is. That is that consent decree, that unfunded mandate that the city's under, the $85 million figure we always hear about. The first 25%, it's separating the stormwater system from the sewer system on the west side of the city. The first 25% was up in the 7th Ward, the Garrett Street, Burt Street area. The second 25% was the Niagara Street, Erie Street, Albany Street area in the 5th Ward. The third 25% is taking us to downtown, the downtown area, Cayuga Street, 104, the Water Street area, and the fourth 25%, which we actually is not part of the consent decree, but that's the area close to the lake in the 1st Ward. So again, the strategy here is the first 2 25% phases are done. We are entering the design phase for the third 25%, which will happen next summer, and then the construction, like we saw in the other 2 areas, will begin in late summer 2020, spring, summer 2021. That's the third phase. So, and then the strategy is that assuming we stop having the overflows and the discharges after doing the first 3 25%, maybe we don't have to do the fourth 25%. However, if we don't get the discharges down, then we'll be mandated to report 25%. So we figure just include that work in this grant application anyway, because we may have to do it. So that's the strategy, and the funding and the local matches in the paperwork, and it's just like the other grants that we apply for in one. The 3 applications, we think it's safe to say we probably won't win all 3. So I wouldn't take all 3 applications in when thinking about contributing the local match, but hopefully we could win 2 of them.
All right, very good. Any questions for Mr. Harlow from the council? Seeing none, any questions from the public? Okay, can I have a motion, please? Councilor Wilmot, Councilor DeMassey. Please call the roll.
Counselor Corradino?
Yes.
Counselor DeMassey?
Yes.
Counselor Hill?
Yes.
Counselor Wilmot?
Yes.
Item number 3, Mayor William J. Barlow Jr., through the Office of Economic Development, requests approval to submit the WIIA funding application and financial commitment for EFC project number C, ampersand 6344-19-09, Area 3, sanitary sewer rehabilitation with a total estimated construction project cost of $3.7 million. Mr. Mayor?
Same thing, part of the consent decree, the first item was the actual sewer separation part of the project. This is the sewer rehab where we go under and rehabilitate the sewer system that we have to separate, and the ones that we don't have to separate, we still have to go in and rehab in this area. So that's what this funding will help with.
All right, thank you. Any questions from the council on this? From the public? Seeing none, can I have a motion, please? Councilor Wilmot, Councilor Hill.
Counselor Corradino?
Yes.
Counselor DeMassey?
Yes.
Counselor Hill?
Yes.
Counselor Wilmot?
Yes.
And I forgot, who's going to submit the...
Economic development,
Okay. Thank you
for all 3.
for all of these.
Item number 4, Mayor William J. Barlow Jr., through the Office of Economic Development, requests approval to submit the WIA funding application and financial commitment for upgrades and improvements to the water treatment plant with a total estimated construction project cost of $6.2 million. Mr. Mayor?
First 2 applications were for clean water, which is sewer work. The 3rd application is for drinking water. What this application would apply for specifically is replacing water pump 2 at the water plant, converting to sodium hypochlorite for disinfecting water, installing a new backup generator. Right now the water plant doesn't have a backup generator, so if power goes down or the pumps go out, problem. By the way, I know that the city can last about 8 minutes without electricity at the water plant, so there's a fact. And so a new backup generator would come up if we did in fact lose power for any reason. And then of a 1.5 million gallon well, I guess, that Ken says we need.
All right, thank you, Mayor. Any questions from the council on this one? From the public? Seeing none, can I have a motion? Councilor Wilmot, Councilor Hill. Please call the roll.
Counselor Corradino?
Yes.
Counselor DeMassey?
Yes.
Counselor Hill?
Yes.
Counselor Wilmot?
Yes.
And again, this is economic development? Okay.
Item number 5. Thomas Kells, DPW Commissioner, requests a transfer of funds from the general fund contingent to street maintenance contracted services. Mr. Commissioner.
Good evening, councilors. I think everybody has seen the Bridge Street area downtown improvements. What that has done is where the tree grates used to be, they've put a porous asphalt flexible product there. It's flush with the concrete. As the tree grows, it breaks away. So there's no holes or anything like that. It does let the water through for the roots. What I'm asking for is to do from Bridge Street, Oneida Street on 1st Street, and also over on the east side, Bridge Street, to about East 4th Street, and that's what the dollar amount would cover. We do have some slides. If picture on the left is obviously the finished product. The one on the right is what we have now in a lot of our areas. We've had to remove the metal grates because the trees have grown so much, it's pushed them up and caused tripping hazards. Actually, these themselves are also tripping hazards, but the size of these trees is something I'd also like to talk about tonight. The sidewalks in that picture on the right, you can see that they've actually ground the concrete. The roots are pushing them up. We have this a lot on First Street. Our canopy on First Street is uneven, where we've had to replace some. To fix these flags, we would be compromising this tree. So one of the other things I'd like to discuss tonight is replacing all the trees on First Street from Bridge to Oneida with a new canopy, with a tree that does not get as large as the ones that are there now, and cause the problems that we have in the future. Instead of piecemealing it and having an uneven canopy and such, put a new canopy in of all the same trees. So.
All right, very good. Any questions? Yes, Councilor.
Commissioner Powell, is it possible to do the research so that we get the appropriate tree in this town?
Absolutely. I would like to...
For something with the appropriate root structure?
Absolutely, yes. Something that doesn't grow as tall and so on. Yep.
Councilor DeMassey?
I absolutely support it because you're not only talking downtown, but with the money and how the mayor's trying to fix all the sidewalks in the neighborhoods. It's incredible. I mean, it's going to be a waste of money if we continue with these size trees. You can't obviously replace them all now, but they really have done a hazard in neighborhoods and everything. They're just way too big for where they are. Sidewalks are buckling all over the place. I totally support this.
All right, very good. Anybody else? Councilor Hill?
And I've heard from downtown business owners that have asked for this for some time. The larger trees are affecting sidewalks, affecting their ability to clear snow, affecting their ability to keep their customers safe if they're tripping or falling, things like that. They also obscure the fronts of the buildings, and we have to find a balance between a tree that creates an appeasing canopy and the ability for people to still see our businesses, be able to visit them. Some of the trees on First Street are to the point now where they're just monstrosities, and this is the result. So I think it's the time to do a uniform canopy. We've already got great trees on Bridge Street. If we can determine that those are the best trees for First Street, that would be a great way to go. I think it's something we need to do.
Appreciate that. Mike has a couple more slides that it can show. In front of Chase Bank here on the bottom left, you can see how small that one is, and then on the right, that isn't even one of the larger trees, but you can see the difference in the size of the canopy. And the top left picture shows the sidewalks, how heaved they are, and definitely are safety issues. These pictures here, obviously the tree grates have been busted out, tripping hazards, twisting ankles. So.
Anything else? Any other pictures? Thanks for bringing the photos. They are worth 1,000 words, I think, in some respects.
Especially when it comes to me.
Feel free to bring photos anytime.
All right.
Any other comments or concerns by the council? Yes.
Electrical connections with the base maybe as well, would it be expected?
Believe it or not, most of those were run to the individual buildings that they're in front of. So no, we would actually be eliminating them because they're not part of the city. So.
I see another question in the third row.
Well, it's really more of a comment on what Susan mentioned, that we do some research on what the price will be for small appropriations. you have a plan for?
I would love to talk with some people who are above my qualifications of trees and get some opinions and then go from there.
I think we can all agree on that, certainly get some input from people who know more about trees. Get the proper tree. Councilor Hill?
As a representative of the tree stewards, would you be willing to say that you would support replacing the trees as long as we do the appropriate research and get appropriate trees to replace the canopy?
Sure.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Thank you.
All right, very good. Anybody else? Seeing none, can I have a motion? Councilor Tomasi, Councilor Hill. Please call the roll.
Counselor Corradino?
Yes.
Counselor Damasi?
Yes.
Counselor Hill?
Yes.
Counselor Wilmot?
Yes.
And who will be writing the resolution?
Item number 6, Thomas Kells, DPW Commissioner, requests authorization for the city chamberlain to make transfers to various accounts. Mr. Commissioner?
Councilors, this is money that is budgeted. We would like to move it into some different accounts. One, to put more into asphalt. We've burned up pretty much our account as far as that money. So we'd like to get some more road cuts repaired and water breaks, stuff like that that's happened, fix those areas. And that's what we'd like to use that money for.
Probably that line item is tough to forecast, isn't it, from year to year?
It is. It is. Totally depends on how many breaks, and the guys are doing a great job of actually getting work done. So, using the pothole truck, we've been able to use those guys to do road repairs instead of just patching holes. So, the pothole truck uses one guy instead of the 3-4 guys that used to do it. So, those guys can be doing larger repairs. So.
All right, very good. Any questions from the council, from Mr. Kells? I don't see any questions. Anybody from the public? No? Can I have a motion, please? Councilor Hill, Councilor Damasi. Please call the roll.
Counselor Corradino?
Yes.
Counselor Damasi?
Yes.
Counselor Hill?
Yes.
Counselor Wilmot?
Yes. Item number 7. The City Engineering Department requests that the mayor be authorized to sign the proposal with National Grid for lighting of the Legend Softball Complex with an estimated annual cost of $158.06. Is Mr. Johnson here? I don't see Mr. Johnson. Is there anybody else that have anything to comment or throw in on this one? Oh, I see somebody over here. Did you want to? Is that a yearly cost? That's a yearly annual electricity usage. They're talking about... That's pretty reasonable, Bob. Well, I did have a chance to talk to Mr. Johnson today on the phone, and he did explain that that was LED lighting. So obviously that's the most efficient current technology for lighting goes. So $158 and change for a yearly light is... well, I don't know what to compare that to, but it's probably pretty cheap. All right, you vote of confidence. I guess because of the success of the Legend Softball Complex, there is additional traffic on Churchill Road, and there are only 2 streetlights currently on that stretch of highway, which is approximately 3/4 of a mile long. And those 2 lights are closer to 481. So this was brought to Mr. Johnson's attention, and he contacted National Grid, and this is what the cost is. Is there any questions from anybody on the council concerning this? Anybody in the public? Seeing none, can I have a motion, please? Councilor Hill, Councilor Wilmot. Please call the roll.
Counselor Corradino?
Yes.
Counselor Damasi?
Yes.
Counselor Hill?
Yes.
Counselor Wilmot?
Yes.
And who will write the resolution?
Engineering Department.
Thank you.
Item number 8, the City Engineering Department requests 84-88 Byre Road to be added to the Town of Oswego Water District. Mr. Johnson and I also talked about this. Is there anybody else that would like to talk about this?
Mr. Chairman,
City Attorney.
I'm available for questions. I did talk to Mr. Johnson about this. As I understand it, through Mr. Johnson, there is no water main out on Byre Road. This is a request of a property owner out there for water service. The water service would be coming from across the road in the town of Oswego, but Oswego gets its water from Aqua. So that would be the billing source for the water and the source of the water. I didn't have a discussion really beyond that, other than I did have a preliminary discussion with the town of Oswego. I think they're of the general opinion that if the city of Oswego is willing to do this, that they will entertain it as well. That's about all I know. This is a rental unit, as I understand the property. The only thing I would be certain of, and I can't tell you this now, but I'd be certain that all of the bills are paid, the rental permits are in order, and we're not enriching unjustly this individual or this property owner by giving him municipal water without him complying with all other rules that we have here.
All right, very good. I will throw in a couple of things that Mr. Johnson talked about. He said that this is to replace an old line that was somehow jury-rigged through somebody else's property, and the person who lives next door built a garage over the top of this water line, and I guess it caused some damage to the water line going to these rental properties. So that's why it's come up now, that there's a need for a new water line. Since it isn't in my ward, I am familiar with the area. And it is unique, not too unique, because we do have other areas in the city where, in Kingsford Woods, we have people who actually live in Minetto, in the Kingsford Woods area, that are on city water, and we bill them. So this is similar to what's going on, but in the opposite direction. Are there any other questions that I can answer? Yes, Councilor.
I'm just curious as to how the property, is it a well-kept property? Definition, right?
Well, it's a rental property.
Right.
There's 2 buildings, and I think there's 3 or 4 units in each, and there's 1 story right across the street from Race Master, if you know the area.
Okay, because I could not, and I did not drive by, so okay, now I know the area.
So yeah, that's the area, and
Yep.
they are what they are.
Right.
Any other comments or concerns, questions? Seeing none, can I have a motion, please? Councilor Hill, Councilor Wilmot. Please call the roll.
Counselor Corradino,
Yes.
Counselor DeMassey,
Yes.
Counselor Hill,
Yes.
Counselor Wilmot.
Yes.
And who will write this resolution?
Engineering Department.
Alrighty.
Bob Johnson. He's not here, we'll throw it on him. Item number 9, the City Engineering Department seeks approval for the seeker negative declaration McCaffrey Water Treatment Plant. Is there anybody here that would like to speak to item number 9? Ken, would you like to throw your hat in the ring?
This is just a follow-up to the WIA grant application. Last month, we did the initial part of the environmental survey that you approved as the lead agency. This is now the negative declaration. Everything we're doing at the water plant that we're looking for funding for is replacement in kind. There's really no new big building coming up. There's a little bit if we do the chlorine to sodium hypochlorite disinfection. There's a little bit of digging, but there's no new openings of places we haven't been before, so it'd be a negative declaration.
All right, thank you. Any questions for Ken from the council or from the public? Seeing none, can I have a motion, please? Councilor Hill, Councilor DeMassey, please call the roll.
Counselor Corradino,
Yes.
Counselor DeMassey.
Yes.
Counselor Hill,
Yes.
Counselor Wilmot.
Yes.
Item number 10, the wastewater department requests authorization for Onondaga County to issue an RFP, request for proposal, for sludge hauling. Ken?
So our current relationship, right now, it's Butler who does the sludge hauling for the city wastewater treatment facilities. Will come to an end in about 5 months, and it seems to take about 5-6 months to get this process through Onondaga County. So we want to make sure there's ample time to get the process taken care of. So this basically is just permission for them to put an RFP out so that we can get prices back and service back for us to look at and then decide who we want to utilize after this contract is over.
Very good. Kudos for starting early.
Thank you.
Any comments or questions from the council or the public on this one? Seeing none, can I have a motion? Councillor Wilmot, Councillor Hill, please call the roll.
Counselor Corradino?
Yes.
Counselor DeMassey?
Yes.
Counselor Hill?
Yes.
Counselor Wilmot?
Yes.
Is there any other business? Oh, I see something right there. Yes. Yes, City Attorney Caracoli.
Mr. Chairman, you will recall the council adopted a resolution seeking bids, sealed bids for property, city-owned property at 154 East Seneca Street. We sent out and publicly advertised these bids. We received exactly one sealed bid. I have it in my hand right now. Your permission, I'd like to open it.
Be my guest.
Couldn't find a letter opener anywhere, so it'll be our next little project.
Do we need a drum roll?
No, I think it's, just want to make sure we got all the contents of the envelope. Yep. Okay, the bid application is submitted by a Mark Tormina, address of 63 Garden Drive in Oswego. I think that's in Scriba. He is offering $500 for this property. He writes to the mayor and members of the council, I'm the owner of houses at 156, 158, and 153 East Seneca Street. 153 was my family homestead, and 156 and 158 were owned by my father before I took ownership. I have deep roots in the neighborhood. The property at 154 East Seneca Street has been an eyesore for years, and the removal of same has certainly improved the neighborhood appearance as well as its safety. I'm in the process of building a new single-family house at 156 Seneca Street, which is adjacent to it. The land on which the new home sits is minimal at best. I am in hopes of purchasing this property from the city to use as ancillary land to the home. As you can see from the attached aerial photo, the house has very little land around its perimeter, and the adjacent lot would be extremely useful for parking, landscape, and basic family activities that a yard would afford. I appreciate your consideration of my offer. I'm aware that it's not a grand amount, but my limited budget for this project would go towards improving the property. And that's respectfully submitted, Mark Tormina. There is a map if anyone cares to see it, but that's the bid. Happy to.
Thank you.
Just a reminder that the council is under no obligation to accept this bid, can reject it, can submit or send it out for rebidding. It's completely up to you, but we did advertise this as directed, and we received exactly that one bid.
All right, yes, Councillor.
And we can counteroffer, correct?
Sure, we could. Yeah.
Well, at this point, this is in your ward,
This
Councillor?
is my ward. And I mean, definitely, I have no problem. We do need to get rid of that. I think he'll do a good job with that, but I would like to counteroffer. I think 500 is too low for that. I mean, I feel 2,000 is more than fair.
Is
I would just-
that appropriate? in this
I don't know if I
is.
could do that. but-
No, you perfectly can do that. I would just suggest that if we start throwing figures out, that we do it in an executive session.
Oh, okay, sorry, I didn't say
So
that.
as not to, tip that poker hand too much.
I didn't say that. Thank you.
I didn't write that suggestion.
Would the council feel comfortable in going to executive session at a later date to review this? It could be tonight, it could be another time, but would you feel more comfortable in, again, I'd like to defer to you since it's in your ward.
Yeah, I definitely, you know, and maybe you'll even think more so. I mean, I have my own reasons, which I'll now say in private. And we'll do an executive session, but I do think that I think we should. I personally, anyways, don't feel I want to let it go for that.
You're under no obligation to do anything tonight, and if it's the pleasure of the council and this committee to go into an executive session, I'm happy to further advise.
Well, since there is no rush to do it, why don't we do it? I'm not here to give
why don't we
orders
wait?
here. Well, if we wait, it's another 2 weeks.
Right.
Anybody have any problem in waiting 2 weeks to
No.
do an executive session for that? Like you said,
Sounds
there's no
good.
rush at this point. At this
put it
point,
on
then,
2 weeks.
take a look at that. At this point, then, thank you for bringing the bid to our attention. We'll make sure you get it back, and we're going to
Put it on for 2 weeks.
put it on for 2 weeks. Is that
Executive session.
okay?
That's fine. Yeah.
I see a question or a hand.
I'm surprised from a purchasing standpoint that there is a minimum set on these properties because it's not the first one and it won't be the last. And I think that will counter some of this kind of thing, of course, depending on the condition and the size of the property. And then you also have to take into consideration if they're tearing down a house, there's cost involved in that and, their whole process. But a
Right.
minimum would alleviate some of this.
Yeah, that's a very good suggestion, and I appreciate that the recognition that all properties are a little different. So a minimum could be, a couple $1,000s on one and several $1,000s on another, or less, depending on the nature of the property and those other factors. So.
All right, then why don't we put this on for executive session for the next committee meeting?
Very good. I'll take that.
Yep.
In the meantime.
Uh-oh, stop. What does that mean?
All right. Tress,
What's the matter?
could you help with the tape recorder?
Oh, good.
Our substitute minute taker is not sure how to operate that. Here's your chance to say something.
Oh, the whole thing open, okay. I'm like looking for a button. Okay.
All set? All right, well, I believe that was the last item to discuss under old business. Is there anything else to bring up? Seeing none, can I have a motion, please, to adjourn? Counselor Wilmot, Counselor DeMassey, please call the roll.
Counselor Corradino?
Yes.
Counselor DeMassey?
Yes.
Counselor Hill?
Yes.
Counselor Wilmot?
At this time, I'd like to call the Physical Services Committee meeting for September 3rd, 2019 to order. Please call the roll.
Slow down.
Counselor Hill?
Here?
Counselor Wilmot?
Here.
Counselor DeMassey?
Here.
Counselor Gozick?
Here.
Could I please have a minute to approve the minutes of our August 19th, 2019 committee meeting? Counselor Gozick, Counselor Wilmot. Please call the roll.
Counselor Hill?
Yes.
Counselor Wilmot?
Yes.
Counselor DeMassey?
Yes.
Counselor Gozick?
Yes.
Is there any old business to come before this committee? Seeing none, we'll move on to new business under communication. Item number 1, Mayor William J. Barlow Jr. has received a request from Sarah Carmichael, Services to Aid Families Advocate, for use of public space for the annual Domestic Violence Awareness Month event. I see that someone is here to speak to this.
Hi there. So unfortunately, Sarah could not join us tonight. She is at a NOW meeting in Syracuse. But my name is Mel Kennedy. I'm another advocate and educator for SAFE, and I'm just here to answer some questions, anything that you guys have for it. We are asking for space to put up our silent witness display, so that would be 3 wooden red figurines, and also approximately 600 purple flags that represent the victims that we've served this year who've experienced domestic violence. And we're asking to put that up kind of behind the Ritz Diner at that entrance to kind of the fishing area there. There's a nice open grassy spot that I think could really represent how Oswego County, really takes this seriously, especially not only to our county, but to all of the visitors from the Northeast that are going to be coming in October. We're also requesting to light City Hall purple and also to light the waterfall right there in the same area as the fishing area purple for the entire month as part of the Shine the Light campaign. So,
Excellent.
any questions?
Are there any questions for our speaker? No, I think this is a great, great item, and I think it's worthwhile, so I definitely support it.
Thank you.
All right, could I
Appreciate
please have a
that.
motion? Counselor DeMassey, Counselor Gozick.
Thanks very much.
Counselor Hill?
Yes.
Counselor Wilmot?
Yes.
Counselor DeMassey?
Yes.
Counselor Gozick?
Yes.
Item number 2, the City Engineering Department has received a request for use of public space from Priority Rentals, Inc., owner of a commercial building located at 171 West First Street, in order to place one 2-foot by 3-foot A-frame sign between the curb and property line fronting West First Street. Is there anyone here to speak to this item? Okay. It's a pretty standard request. I was hoping to see a mock-up of the A-frame sign. Did anyone receive? Because this is a heavily trafficked area in downtown, so I just wanted to be sure it was appropriate with all the work we're doing. It would be good to have something that's tasteful and...
Definitely.
So yeah, I think what I'd like to do, there's no mock-up. I didn't see anything in our packet, and I didn't get a chance to reach out to them, unfortunately. So if it's okay with the committee, I would like to hold off on this one. I just want to be sure that we're making the right decision. So if we could just make a motion to table this, would that be appropriate? Okay. Could I have a motion, please? Counselor DeMassey, Counselor Wilmot.
Counselor Hill?
Yes to table.
Counselor Wilmot?
Yes to table.
Counselor DeMassey?
Yes, table.
Counselor Gozick?
Yes to table.
Okay, thank you. Item number 3, the City Engineering Department has received a request from Vashaw Collision Services, Inc., owner of a commercial building located at 269 West 2nd Street in the 5th Ward, in order to install a new 25-foot by 1-foot, 4-foot-high fence between the curb and right-of-way fronting West 2nd Street. Counselor Gozick, do you have any comments on this?
Yeah, I'd want to keep it, the reason I believe they want their, to put this fence up is because of the high traffic. Next door is Farnham, the rehabilitation clinic, and I know that one of the reasons why is there's been a lot of complaints, and they're very cooperative. Mr. Breeze that runs it, the director, is helpful, but I know that I think it's to stem some of the traffic coming through there, because a lot of the people, they can't smoke on the property, so they have to walk down the street, and I believe it has had a negative impact on Mr. Vashaw's business, and a lot of the neighbors complain, so it's a difficult situation. One good thing is that for the public and anybody in my ward that is listening, is that they're actually working on a plan to move, and they have the plans, and they're working on it for the next couple of years. It's probably, according to my last discussion with Mr. Breeze, about a year and a half out now, where they're going to be moving their facility. But I know they do a great service, and I am compassionate for the people that are receiving the services there, so I don't mean to speak negatively of the situation there or the people, but I support this 100%, and I hope the rest of the council can as well.
Okay. So this will actually provide a bit of a buffer between the two locations.
Yeah, he's
And that's-
right adjacent to the parking lot where the problem is, because it's a federally funded program, they can't smoke on the property, and it causes a big issue because they have to walk around and neighbors complain, and it's not their fault, but there's nowhere to go. So Mr. Vash, I believe, hopes that would keep them from being in front of his business. And there's quite a few people down there receiving services, and again, like I said, it's a great service for the people that need it, but it's also an inconvenience for business owners and residents that live in close proximity to the facility.
Okay. So I think it's important that we make sure that we, have on the record that we do support the efforts of Farnham, and we do recognize the service they provide. But this is simply just to reduce traffic on Mr. Vashaw's property. So does everyone kind of agree with that? Are there any comments or concerns, members of the council? I mean, every person who has property has a right to request to put a fence on their property if it encroaches on public space. So I think he's just exercising that. Any comments from the public? Anyone? Councilor?
I struggle a bit with it being 25-foot fence, and I don't know.
Well, that's the length.
It's only
How high is
4
the
feet.
fence itself?
4 foot. It's a 4 foot.
It's only 4 feet.
No,
Yeah, it's
I
not a
thought
high
it was going to
fence.
be 8 foot, 25,
No, 25 by 1 and then 4 foot high.
4 foot, okay. I thought it was 8 foot.
Okay. All right, could I have a
All right,
motion, please?
That's all right.
Counselor Gozick, Counselor DeMassey. Let's go roll.
Counselor Hill?
Yes.
Counselor Wilmot?
Yes.
Counselor DeMassey?
Yes.
Counselor Gozick?
Yes.
Item number 4, Thomas Kells, Commissioner of Public Works and Parks and Recreation, has received a request from Tanya Benoit for use of public space on September 21st, 2019, from 4 p.m. to 9:30 p.m. for a wedding and reception in Brightbeck Park. Commissioner, any issues or concerns? Oh, she's here. Great.
Answer that, no.
Yeah, thank you. It's not often we have speakers for these type of
I just
pro forma
wanted
requests.
to be present in
So,
case you had any
this is great.
questions, or we just would like permission to erect a 20 by 40 tent to hold the reception in, and we'll be catering our own food, about 30 people in attendance.
Yeah, the main issue that we like to make sure is taken care of, we just checked with the department to make sure there's no conflicts. They've already done the legwork, so I don't think we'd have any issues with that at all. Any questions from the council? Okay, could I have a motion, please? Counselor Wilmot, Counselor DeMassey.
Counselor Hill?
Yes.
Counselor Wilmot?
Yes.
Counselor DeMassey?
Yes.
Counselor Gozick?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you
All set.
very much.
Congratulations.
Yep. Item number 5. Okay. Item number 5, Thomas Kells, Commissioner of Public Works and Parks and Recreation, has received a request from Ryan Krieger for use of public space on October 26th, 2019, from 12 p.m. to 9 p.m. for a wedding ceremony and reception at Brightbeck Park. Same. Yeah. Any questions for the Commissioner? Okay. And nobody to congratulate? Okay.
I'm going anyway.
All right. Could I have a motion, please?
Put on the record.
Counselor Gozick, Counselor Wilmot.
Counselor Hill?
Yes.
Counselor Wilmot?
Yes.
Counselor DeMassey?
Yes.
Counselor Gozick?
Yes.
Item number 6, Thomas Kells, Commissioner of Public Works and Parks and Recreation, has received a request from Mary Beth Quigley to donate a bench in memory of her parents, Bernie and Bill Clunan, at Linear Park. Is there anyone here to speak to this item? Okay, seeing none, are there any questions from the council? Could I please have a motion? Counselor DeMassey, Counselor Gozick.
Counselor Hill?
Yes.
Counselor Wilmot?
Yes.
Counselor DeMassey?
Yes.
Counselor Gozick?
Yes.
Item number 7, Thomas Kells, Commissioner of Public Works and Parks and Recreation, has received a request from the family of Julian Kelly Ross to replace existing wooden slats in a memorial bench already on a pad near the newly erected ramp at Brightbeck Park with recycled plastic slats used on new benches. Commissioner?
Councilors, this is more of just for clarification. We're going to have this as we move forward in the years with the amount of benches that we're putting out. Is the city taking the burden of maintenance on repairing these? I'm looking for your direction. I don't have an opinion on it. It's totally up to you guys. But so we stay consistent, I would like to know what we're doing.
I mean, I would not believe that it would be our responsibility to maintain the benches. Certainly open it up to the council for discussion. Council?
Well, I agree with you that, I mean, these benches are not a lifetime commitment on the city's part, I feel. And on all future requests for benches to be put in, maybe we should put that in there as a caveat that, yes, we'll accept your donation, and yes, we will put it approximately where you want it, but the city is not going to be held liable for repairing or replacing it when the time comes. I mean, the DPW's got enough to do. I've got potholes I want filled, and replacing slats in a bench, I don't think is a high priority, to be honest with you.
Councilors, I 100% agree with that. The only thing I would say is if there was vandalized or something, I think we should take that responsibility on.
Certainly, yes.
To do a repair, but other than that, I wholeheartedly agree.
Okay. Yeah, I don't see.
Caveat to the proposal. Perhaps we need to also state what will happen if they fall into dangerous disrepair.
Sure.
So,
So is that a future conversation to be had?
I think we do have to have a conversation, and we can also wrap in location and things like that we've touched upon different meetings. But I think for this particular request, it's important that we just indicate that it is the responsibility of the person who has requested the memorial bench to cover that expense.
So are we saying that they'll cover the cost of materials, DPW will do the work?
Nope.
When we do the initial memorial bench, how is that work breakdown?
It comes unassembled, and we install it.
And do we charge them for that installation?
No. No,
Then-
we do the concrete pad as well as put the bench together and take the plaque and set it into the,
And how much work does replacing the slats require?
totally depends on how much. I'm totally okay with replacing.
Okay.
Again, it's just a matter of
Okay.
cost.
Yeah, I think that to stay consistent with the initial arrangement or agreement, that we require the materials be purchased, but we do the installation. So, does that seem reasonable?
I don't know if I agree with us even doing that. I mean, I say, once we do the initial, I mean, you can get, most people, you have somebody in their family or something that can fix them, that why
Well,
can't get
I think it just comes down to how
I would
much.
recommend against that. There would be a whole thing where we'd have to get a hold harness.
Oh, okay.
And so on.
I didn't realize
So,
that. Okay, perfect.
I would say either you go and say they have to purchase a whole new bench, which I think that would be a little expensive to do.
Right.
Or that, for the sake of maintenance, we probably should do
Just
that.
you guys should do it. Gotcha.
Not that I'm looking for extra work by any means.
No, no, no.
Council.
Through the chair, I mean, this is not going to come up every week, I assume, replacing slats.
No, but I think it's
So-
a good conversation to have if we set,
Precedent.
We're using the same benches all the time, so we would use the same, so people aren't coming in with,
Absolutely.
purple benches. No, nothing against purple. So we stay consistent.
But this is something that you could fit into the DPW schedule. There might be some downtime that they could put these things together, and some busy work, you might say. But again, it's not a weekly request or job, I would think. Thank you.
All right, could I have a motion, please? Councilor DeMassey, Councilor Wilmot.
Counselor Hill?
Yes.
Counselor Wilmot?
Yes.
Counselor DeMassey?
Yes.
Counselor Goza?
Yes.
And the last item, Thomas Kells, Commissioner of Public Works and Parks and Recreation, has received a request from Brian Reynes to donate a bench in memory of his parents, George and Eileen Reynes at Brightbeck Park. I did go over to the location today. I see there are six or eight other benches in that area. We've been struggling with this, where to locate them. And I did take some pictures, I sent them around to the council. My opinion on this particular location is not hit the high density of some of the other areas. Actually, it's a little less dense. This specific request was made because they have family that has a bench in that same area. It's hard to say to them, no, we don't want you to locate this bench. None of us want to say no. Actually, nobody wants to say no anytime. But my opinion was I would allow this request, and I did send an email around requesting, the opinion of the council. I got a couple of responses back that supported that. Did you have anything you wanted to add?
Only we are opening up Pandora's box there, or whatever we want to call it, that if you allow this one, there's going to be other ones.
Well,
that
but
say-
we've already allowed it, so we're kind of at the same.
But we've also told people no, that
Yep.
Brightbeck is.
At the other corner, not in this specific area, so.
We said that Brightbeck is full.
Yep.
But if that was,
At another meeting.
we actually just approved, Tracy Akins was a recent one that we just approved, as well as a couple of the others that are down there. After, we've denied requests for the,
I'm just looking for.
yeah,
council
the
for-
northeast corner we have kind of closed off because that section is completely saturated. So I think we do need to still review it case by case. And again, no one wants to tell someone no, but this location, I mean, I'll take everyone's opinion. I mean, I sent the photos. What was your feeling from that?
The only thing is we didn't close it. We pretty much said Brightbeck all in all. We did not. limit
Except
it
we
to
haven't,
certain
we
areas.
haven't done that, so, yeah. And we never did a policy, we never changed the procedures, and we never really denied anyone who requested the less dense areas of Brightbeck, so.
No, it just seems to me that as long as there's reasonable space available, and now that all the work is done on the northwest side of the park, there doesn't seem to be any reason to deny requests. If there's no space available, then we need to redirect them to other areas where they might be able to locate it. But if there's room, I don't see the purpose.
Well, I guess we need to know what the definition of room is. I mean, yes, the park is very large. The park is very large, and there's, obviously, we could put 100,000 of them there, but at what point are we putting too many? And I think that's something that we should discuss and move forward with. So, either way, I just think we need to come up with it so when somebody comes to our office, we can direct them and not get their hopes up and say, well, roll the dice at council.
But I guess we answered that by this request making it to us. They were not told that this was not an acceptable location. So it kind of, we've already answered that question as far as direction. So, and I think all the other requests came through the same way, unless I interjected and spoke to them ahead of time, or someone else did and said, you know, is there a better location, or can we work with you to find a less dense area? I think right now, I think we're still, you know, bound to take the requests one by one, not deny anyone broadly based on the request for Brightbeck Park, look at them and then make a determination. When we talk about the putting together a procedure on the slats and everything else, we should include location as a part of that discussion. So I would certainly support that. I think it's important we bring everybody together.
Yeah, I agree with you, Chairman Hill. But I think in the future, maybe we need to make more of a concerted effort to direct the people, to make it clear, you know, that we need more benches along the Riverwalk. For instance, we got the waterfall lit up. There's no benches down there anywhere. We can see it, only a couple. And additionally, now that the lock's done, hopefully now we'll have more access on the east side as well. It was a shame. I know the work had to be done, but, you know, it disrupted the, you know, if you wanted to walk or bike along the east side Riverwalk, that was difficult. But there's plenty of space along there for benches. I have a park, Kingsford Park has a new playground that last year, and there's no benches to sit down, and I know we put another park. So I think maybe if we made an effort, people might find that they, you know, are from different neighborhoods or went to certain schools and might decide they want to put them there. But I think I support this one, but I do agree. I think we're reaching the saturation point at Brightbeck, and a couple more, and that's about all. There's more benches than people. There's a lot of people down there recently since we've done all the improvements.
You know, one thing to add, councilors, is we do have to pour concrete down there.
Yep.
And so we are taking our parking, making it more of a concrete jungle the more we add, so.
And I think part of the issue is when people specifically request a location, they're doing so because of what you said. You know, they enjoyed the sunsets. In this particular case, they have family who has a bench in that area, and there's family reasons for having it there. So it's very sensitive. We understand that it's a touchy subject, and nobody's ever wanted to make that tough decision to say, sorry, you know, no more. But I think at this point in this location where they're requesting, it's not to the point of the other areas of the park. But, I mean, it's certainly up to the committee to, you know, to decide which way to go. I will support this one. You know, I've looked at it heavily.
Question there.
A couple thoughts on that. One, it is an emotional thing. Everybody wants to be in the sunset and all that, but the fact remains that it's a finite space, and at some point it amounts to aesthetics. You know, what's visually too much. And then you have to do a cutoff, and then obviously offer them other spaces. And another thing is I've noticed, like around Waves or other memorial places that we've been, they have the memorial bricks, and it's an option, and maybe if they started doing it around the Kingsford Bell, it would kind of all tie in, and, you know, visually keep it smaller, but you still make your statement.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Could I have a motion, please? Councilor Wilmot, Councilor Gozick.
Counselor Hill?
Yes.
Counselor Wilmot?
Yes.
Counselor DeMassey?
No.
Counselor Gozick?
Yes.
Is there any other business to come before this committee? Seeing none, I'll take a motion to adjourn. Counselor Wilmot, Counselor Gozick.
Counselor Hill?
Yes.
Counselor Wilmot?
Yes.
Counselor DeMassey?
Yes.
Counselor Gozick?
Yes.
Meeting is
Thank
adjourned.
you.